Hi, and welcome to Rabbit and Moon Tarot. My name is Angel, and I'll be doing a general collective read today. If you've been here before, you'll know that I've been putting in chapter markers in the actual timeline and in the description box below. Sometimes they don't show up on the timeline, but they're definitely in the description box below, along with any references that I might make, the decks that I've used, so on and so forth. If you're new to my channel, well, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I am a tiny little channel. Haven't been here very long, but I appreciate everyone who stops by for a listen, for a view. A like, share, and subscribe wouldn't hurt. I would really love that. And for those who are new to tarot and oracle in general, I do have a little intro for you. It's nothing too intense, but some food for thought. Tarot and oracle are tools for self-reflection. They're only meant to help guide us when we're using our own inner moral compass in pursuit of our own particular brand of happiness. I'm an intuitive reader, so that means I work with my guides and my ancestors, the universal energy of the cosmos, to help bring in messages. So when a card shows up, I'll say, hey, this one showed up. It means this pattern. It has this archetype. It holds this theme. And sometimes, my guides will pull a card. There's only so many cards in a deck, and so sometimes they'll pull one that's the closest approximation to what they want to say and say, this is the message that goes with this. It's up to me, the storyteller, to relay that message. But it's up to you, the reader, the viewer, the viewer, to decide whether or not that resonates with you. And the thing is, it's not always going to resonate because of the fact that I read for a lot of different energies. Sometimes it's just a nice story to hear. Sometimes it'll hold something deeply personal that resonates with you. So if it works for you, then great. If it doesn't, that's all right. Maybe another day. But most importantly, understand that you are the maestro of your own destiny. And I believe in fate and destiny. I do. I just believe that it will only take you to a certain point. And it's up to you. It's up to us to make a decision, to walk a path, to make a choice, to say a thing. Because fate and destiny will only present opportunities, paths, doorways to other timelines that we can live. But it's up to us to want to make those choices. Because we have full free will, autonomy, and we are the maestros of our own destiny. So, don't give up all of your power to a tarot reading. Just utilize it as the tool for self-reflection that I believe it to be. Now, having said that, let's get into the reading. Okay, I'm going to be using these Cosmic Insights oracles, and I was guided today to have an oracle-led reading. So what I'll do is I'll pull a couple of oracle cards, and then I'll use tarot to define what those oracle cards mean, or the story that the spirits, guides, and ancestors want to tell. So what do we have for today's collective? Okay, so we have fate, karma, something ending, something beginning. So collective, this is not a huge surprise probably to anybody in the collective, because of the fact that we are in a very specific astrological time. And I won't pretend to know everything about astrology, but it is about cycles. We've had a lunar eclipse, we had a partial solar eclipse, we had the new moon in Aries, and from what I understand, there are a ton of outer planets in the sign of Pisces. There is a lot going on energetically, on top of the fact that between the lunar eclipse and the partial solar eclipse, we moved from Imbolc to Astara. We moved from winter to spring. So a lot has been going on. So of course there's going to be a lot of endings that lead to beginnings, as is the way of nature. Well, when one spring gives way to summer, which gives way to fall, which gives way to winter, and so on. There is that cycle. But more specifically, I feel like the collective has been enduring some, for lack of a better term, crunchy energy. I'm just going to be real. It may not be easy for everyone. If you're anything like me, Mercury retrograde has got your number. It is just ruthless with me sometimes. And I already have a stutter a little bit and a lisp, but this just makes it a little bit worse. So let's keep going. What else do we have for main themes before we get into the oracle proper? They'll be back. Okay, so expect to hear from them soon. Also, can we say Mercury retrograde without actually saying Mercury retrograde, with cycles as well as they'll be back? So within Mercury retrograde, it is a time where communication tends to break down just a little bit. Fixed signs seem to do just fine during it, or at least have an easier time of it. But as a whole, Mercury retrograde is a time for us to look retrospectively at things that we've learned, recognize that sometimes there is a little bit of delay, or communication can go sideways sometimes, but also it's a time during which, when we're doing that retrospective review, sometimes we have energies from the past come forward. Sometimes those energies come forward in order for us to close out the cycle, to close that chapter, to move on to something completely new. Sometimes those people, those instances, those situations, those energies come back in order for us to heal a cycle within that, so that you and that person, you and that energy, you and that situation can move forward together, creating a new phase, depending on how you want to look at it. You are the maestro of your own destiny. So if someone comes back and you're like not with it, like, you don't have to take them back. If you don't want to take them back, that is well within your right. However, if I'm talking to the collective that is dealing with a situation, a person, or an energy that's coming back, and you're like, well, I mean, I do want to work on it, then just take it slow. Take it slow. Have those deep conversations. Okay? Don't be shy about sharing your truth, because if this energy, this person, this situation balks at your personal truth and reacts to your personal truth, then you want to re-examine whether or not you want this energy to come with you to this next phase. Because if they can't honor and understand and respect your truth, there needs to be harder things, a harder look at things. But I digress. Let's continue forward. Okay, so based on cycles, and they'll be back. What else is going on with the collective? And we'll get clarification through tarot. Okay. So we have air signs. So if you have air in your chart, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, you could be an air sign, sun, moon, or rising. You could have a stellium on it, or you could just really encapsulate that air energy, that intellectual energy, that energy of balance, that energy of being a humanitarian, that energy of connected to spirituality. You might be embodying those traits during this very prominent astrological time. We'll get more clarification on that later, but let's keep going with the oracles. What else do we have? Oops. Well, that one ran away from me. Just a second. Okay, so we have move on. Someone is unavailable. A waste of time. It's over. Okay, so like I said, some of you in the collective, so this may not be for everybody, but some in the collective are going to have energy, situation, people moving, coming back, coming forward. And like I said, some of you are going to be like, no, I do not. That is taking a step backwards. That is not what I want. You are fully within your power. I didn't need to tell you that. I know I didn't need to tell you that. But this is confirmation that if you were like, yes, I'm going to move on, and there's just a small little inkling of you that is like, I don't know about this. This is this confirmation. Some of you may really want to just be like, oops. Oh, I reached forward. I don't know if you could see it on camera. I reached forward to point at the table, and my ring caught onto cards, and it pulled up these two cards, which was Confession and Narcissist. So, I mean, I'm not going to put those down, but this comes with this move on card. Move on. Someone is unavailable. A waste of time. It's over. Perhaps you were with somebody, a situation, an energy, take it as it resonates, that was very self-focused, that didn't think about your wants, needs, or desires. And they may even come forward to admit to certain behaviors that were unacceptable and, generally from society standpoint, looked down upon. And their confession and your forgiveness is not tantamount to an invitation back into your life. It is simply a forgiveness. It's like, I understand that you were in whatever energy you were. I understand and appreciate that you recognize and you take responsibility. I forgive you, but you do not need to be part of my life. Just saying. So let's keep going. What other energies do we have? There we go. So we have challenges, make a decision, work on inner healing. Okay, I mean, collective, this may be the collective that is, you hear a lot of people in love readings that are talk about people coming back, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about, what's the word I want to use? I don't hear a lot of people reminding you or making sure you know that it's okay to not accept them just because they came back. Doesn't matter how much energy you've had between you. Doesn't matter that you love them so much. Love isn't enough. It's a good start. But communication, consistency, healing, sharing the responsibility, being forthcoming, being truthful, all of those things are still necessary. So we may be tapping into a collective that has had maybe something, someone, or some situation come up that you're like done with. Oh, and I don't know if you all know Greek mythology, but this challenges where it looks like this person is pushing what looks like a boulder. This reminds me of Sisyphus, which is an individual in Greek mythology of someone who was smart enough and clever. If I've got it right, you can. If I have it wrong, please link it in the description. I always say that. Put it in the description. Oh my God, I've done it a third time. Second time. Lord help me. I did it a second time, and I made the same mistake that I've done in other videos. I'm sorry. Sometimes I get lost in my words, lost in the sauce. If you know the actual story of Sisyphus, you can put it in the comments below. But I'm so sorry. I have a little bit of the giggles. Sisyphus is a character in Greek mythology. I may edit this out. I may not. Maybe you all need to see how Mercury be treating me sometimes. One more time. Sisyphus, Greek mythology. He was crafty enough, intelligent enough. You would even say tricky enough, I believe, to, wiggle his way away from death twice. And so when it finally caught up with him, he was meant to push this boulder up a hill for all eternity. And right when he was almost done, the task would end when he could push this huge boulder up a hill and he could reach the top. But every time he's almost at the top, he loses grip, and then the boulder rolls all the way back. So he has an eternity of this challenge of pushing forward, this challenge of pushing forward. So I don't know if that really makes a difference for anybody in the collective. I feel like I needed to share that. Sorry about my Mercury retrograde flub moment, but moving on energy, even if, like I said at the beginning, you may be like, I don't want them just because they're coming back, and just because I once upon a time loved them, and maybe even now I still love them, but love is not enough. They wounded me. I'm not ready. I can forgive them. I'm not ready to put myself back in that situation. I don't necessarily want them part of my life, and that's okay. Self-preservation, protect your energy. If that's what you want, then you do you. This move on energy, however, may be a little challenging for you. Like in essentials, in emotion, in intellect, you want to, but actually the words, when they show up, when they talk to you, when they're like, hey, so I was thinking maybe we should meet up. You haven't heard from this person in months, weeks, years, whatever it is. And they're like, they don't even talk about what they've done. They just pop up with a, hey, let's, maybe we should meet up for coffee because I'm in your neighborhood or whatever. It may be hard to draw that line because maybe they're real cute or maybe they're really charming, but you've already made a decision. Commitment. Things are getting serious. Okay. I don't know why I'm being so sassy. I was going to say, don't get it twisted. This commitment isn't about you and them. No. This is about commitment to yourself. Things are getting serious with yourself. You're dating yourself. You're falling in love with yourself. You're prioritizing yourself. This is what this feels like to me. Okay? Let's get some tarot. Just to validate and to verify. All right. So as far as cycles go, can we get a tarot card to help suss out the cycles? Okay. Cycles of Seven of Swords. This is a cycle of... Seven of Swords can be about strategy and deceit. But it feels like both. I feel like the person, the energy, the situation, whatever, whoever you were working with, strategically omitted some truths. Secretly or subconsciously, whatever. I don't know why I'm getting so sassy right now, but this person may have been not generous with the truth, omitting truth, which is a lie. Because hear me out when I say that. Some people disagree that omitting the truth is a lie, but when you omit the truth about certain things, it takes away the opposite person, their partner. It takes away their decision about whether or not they want to stay in that connection, that relationship, because you're it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's like you're keeping the person in the relationship under false pretenses because you're not divulging enough information. We get mad at figures of authority, companies, government, when they withhold information that would, negatively impact their citizens, their employees, their customers. Why is it any different with a person that you're in a relationship with? So this is about ending the cycles of what they may not consider lying, but absolutely is lying. In my estimation, you don't have to agree with me. This is my opinion. This is how it's coming in. We're ending the cycles of deceit, of hiding, of omitting. Okay, let's get a tarot card on they'll be back. King of Wands. Yeah, I get King of Wands. King of Wands is a very fiery, passionate, very action-driven. Oh my God, Mercury retrograde. Oh God. Is very action-driven. This person, without making it sound kind of aggressive, it's like you have a target on you. They've made the decision to come forward, to come towards you, to have this conversation, to say their piece. You or them may be an air sign. Oh, okay. The reason why the air sign came up isn't necessarily, well, yes, it could be that you're an air sign or that they're an air sign, or you're embodying, this is the part that I think it is, you're embodying air qualities. You're embodying that Libra energy. That is the scales of justice. That is weighing truth over heart, weighing whether or not their truth holds up to the fact. You know what I mean? Like of your using discernment. This person is fully ready to come back and say whatever they're going to say to you. I don't know what they're going to say. I don't know how they're going to, oh my God, I just heard fabricate. Yo, this is intense. But this energy, the King of Wands, I usually love a King of Wands. Passionate, ambitious, self-assured, action-taking. But all of that over this, they'll be back after the cycles and the cycles of deceit. This makes me feel like, oh God. This makes me feel like they're like, oh, they wouldn't deny me. I know, oh God. I know what I've got. I know what I'm working with. Maybe they're relying really heavily. Ooh, I'm hearing they're relying really heavily on how good they look and how the sexual chemistry between you and them is like bang on. King of Wands doesn't mean it's a man. I'm just saying that's the energy. So this could be anybody. If it resonates, if it fits, then apply it. Okay, so now we're going to the air signs, which, yes, you could be an air sign or they could be an air sign, but I'm feeling more so that it's embodying the air traits of approaching this situation from an intellectual standpoint, using the scales of justice, weighing truth over heart, that sort of thing. We got the Temperance card. Keeping it balanced, keeping it even. Don't get don't get overly emotional. Don't get stuck in your emotions. That doesn't mean you don't have to use your emotions, and you shouldn't tap into your emotions when dealing with this person, but it does mean to have a balance of head and heart, emotion and intellect. Emotion is the grace and the kindness that you afford them when they come forward and they are divulging this information to you, when they're kind of owning up to what they've done, and they feel bad about it. There is a grace and a kindness that you can show. That is emotion, that is kindness, that is warmth. But the intellect part is, don't let it extend so far that it's outside of your comfort level, that it's chipping away at your wants and needs and your truth just to placate this person. Okay, so let's see. Moving on. So this is someone unavailable or a waste of time, and it's over. What clarification do we have for that? Nine of Swords. Yeah, this is not going to be easy for you. And honestly, it's not going to be easy for them. This feels like I said, balance of head and heart. But it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. This does feel like this is, again, I said earlier, where you may, from an intellectual standpoint, be like, no, this is what I want to do. This is what I need to do. But when you're in their presence, or when you have them on the line, or when you are messaging them, it's hard not to fall back into a rhythm of intimacy and vulnerability with them, because, sorry, my hiccup. I am tapping into something. It's easy to fall into a vulnerability and intimacy with them because you've done so before, but you also have to stand in your power. If you've decided to move on because you don't feel like you are getting back what you're putting in, if you feel like what you've worked on, or what you express, what, as far as commitment and showing up and consistency and all accountability and all that, and that's not being mirrored back to you, it's not being given back equal to you, you have to pull back your energy. You have to protect your peace, and it might not be easy. I'm sorry, my collective, if this is emotional for you, if this ends up being emotional for them. There may be tears shed, but understand that you have to operate from your own best self-interest first. It's the airplane metaphor. When you are on an airplane and it's losing altitude, those air bags come down. You have to put your airbag on first before you help someone else. Even if you are sympathetic to what's going on in this person's life, you need to take care of yourself first. And helping them out, I just heard, helping them out is cutting them loose so that they can learn the lesson that they need to. Take it as it resonates. If I'm not telling you something that you don't already know. So can we get some more information on this challenges card? Judgment. So judgment is, I like to think about it also as divine intervention, but also the call, hearing the call. So for me, after I just said everything that I just said here and here, this locks in. You are being spiritually guided to protect your energy. You're being spiritually guided to honor the truth of self. You're being spiritually guided to protect your heart. And there's something about the divine intervention that also makes me feel like this energy is also what pulled them into coming towards, to have the conversation, to have the confession to you, to tell you the things. This judgment card is divine intervention, being like, we understand all of these challenges that you and this energy, you and this person, you and this situation have gone through. And what we need to do is have both energies come together, understand that they need to release, so that one person can go one way to feel and learn and grow, and so the other person can protect their heart, protect their truth, stand in their power, and learn to develop and hold those healthy boundaries. Now let's get to the commitment to self, which I love, because for those of you who are like history buff, this makes me think of that moment in history when Queen Elizabeth I presented herself to her court and to the religious figures at court, and because she was considered the virgin queen because she never took a husband, right? And she I think in history she says, I am married to England, because she is the monarch of England. She never took a husband. She married England, or quote, quote, married herself. She focused on her own power. This is what it makes me think of. It makes me think of that moment of regality where someone who's recognizing their sovereignty, recognizing their sacredness, recognizing the power within, and saying, as much as I love you, I got to love myself a little bit more. I got to focus on myself. I'm going to date myself, fall in love with myself, take myself out on dates. I'm going to get myself right and stand in my power. And, you know, whatever happens after that is how life guides it, and the life that I want. Page of Cups. Yes. This is starting over. This is being open to love in a small increment, very eager, very small. This is like, hey, I want to go out to ice cream with you. Like, this is like 1950s, like, hey, let's go to the ice cream shop. Very young, very earnest, very pure. This is you starting over with yourself, falling in love with yourself again, giving yourself a chance. A part of me says that some of you may even have lost yourselves a little bit. Take it as it resonates. It's not going to resonate with everyone, but you may have lost yourself a little bit, and you've kind of got to get to know yourself once more. All right, my collective. Let's see what else we've got. I'm going to go ahead and get some parting oracle. We're going to use the inner child oracle because it's my fave. Let's see what Spirit has for this message. The inner voice. Self-talk, subconsciousness, and patterns. The way we talk to ourselves matters deeply. If you have drawn this card, then it's time to examine your self-talk. What are the words you speak to yourself? Are they full of love, grace, and acceptance? If not, how can you change that today? Let me just read that one more time because I think that's a beautiful card. The inner voice. Self-talk, subconsciousness, and patterns. The way we talk to ourselves matters deeply. If you've drawn this card, then it's time to examine your self-talk. What are the words that you speak to yourself? Are they full of love, grace, and acceptance? If not, how can you change that today? And that is the reading for today. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching my channel, watching my video. Every like, share, and subscribe is deeply appreciated, as I am a tiny little channel, and I would love for my message to make it out to the people who want, need, or even want to just be inspired by a story. I really appreciate it. And most of all, I appreciate you and your energy. This is Rabbit at Moon Tarot. My name is Angel, and I will see you at the next reading.